Hi guys, so today I'm gonna do a freestyle wire wrap pendant on this moonstone. I buy my gems usually from Etsy, and I also have this, can't remember what it is, but I'll put it in the description. So, I've got 20 gauge copper wire, which I got from Parawire, and then I have 26 gauge also. So usually I'm not very good at like planning ahead my pendants, so I usually just cut long pieces of wire, and it's usually enough. So I'm gonna go about this long, and I'm gonna do probably 3 of those. And they don't all have to be the same length either. So I'm going to use the basic wire wrap to start my pendant. I'm going to wrap all 3 of these together with my 26 gauge wire. And you can do this on the spool if you want. You can leave your wire on the spool, or you can cut off a new piece, or maybe you have an old scrap wire. You can also use that. And you'll want this depending on what size stone you have and what style you want. That just kind of shows how long you're going to want to wrap that. So I'm going to go probably like most of the length of that stone. And I like to make sure it's flat, and I've been using the same like 3 pairs of pliers for like 5 years now, and they were hand-me-downs except this one because my original cutters broke. So I haven't really invested in like some new tools. So whenever I want to flatten, I'm stuck with these. So I'm gonna go back and see if that's where I want it. I think I'm gonna go a little longer. I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I'm gonna unwind that because that's just not good. You're gonna want to make sure when you cut your wire that you cut both on the same side, and then that will be the side that goes flat against your stone. That way, if you plan to wear this, you don't snag anything. We'll take your pliers, go ahead and flatten those out. Alright, so then you're just going to want to match that to you're going to want to shape this around your stone. One way I like to do it is, and I wish I had better camera setup, but on. Sometimes though, I put it like flat on there and then I really press it in to kind of get it where I want it. As you can, if you look closer, you'll see it's pretty crooked. So I'm just gonna try to de-crookify it. Okay, that's definitely not a word. And I won't be trying to say that again. Let's see how this goes. Alright, I think that's pretty good. So then I'm gonna get my 26 back. The cool thing about wire wrapping is you can, not on Parawire, but on other websites, you can buy like square wire, you can buy half round, you can twist wires, you can make them flat, and you can get a lot of different textures and variety. So you can do this same base strategy and you can just have a lot of variety in what you're making. I currently only have round wires, so that's the only thing I use, but I definitely am interested in using other wires to do more creative wire wraps. And then with all the weaves you can do, and you can make up your own weaves, it's just definitely exciting. And I really like wrapping pendants because you really have this freedom to do freestyle, whereas I used to try to make rings sometimes, and it was just really difficult to me because you have to make things the right size. You kind of have to do a little more planning, you know, in that aspect. And then if you want to add like a bead, you can either, there's different ways you can secure it, like just like I'm using this base for my wire wrap pendant. But with rings, it was just a lot more of a struggle for me. I do think that if I had like half round wire, then maybe a ring would be easier. So it looks a little bit wonky right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to flatten the sides and make sure everything looks normal. And then I'm gonna make sure that my stone still fits in there, and it does. And there's also like a lot of space there, which is fine with me for now. But I mean, I might be able to make it a little bit less. So yeah, there's what I got so far. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this piece. I'm gonna keep this because I'm gonna want to keep going on one of these. But before I keep going, I'm gonna go ahead and try to secure the stone in here. So I'm gonna wrap it around the back. Actually, I'm gonna cut it in the front. And wrap it 2 times just to make sure it's actually secure. cut it. Tuck it. Okay. This is the fun part, because you get to turn a piece of metal and a stone into a one unified piece. So you just pull that first wires, you pull them forward, and then you're gonna take your back ones. I usually just kind of shove them in there like that. And then I want to make it a little bit more even. Okay. And you do have to be careful when you use your pliers, because they can easily like scratch the surface. I did one time hear somebody say that if you like make a dent, you can use like the back of your plier and kind of buff it out, which has worked for me sometimes, but I also have had some scratches that were just way too, they were problem beyond repair. So yeah, now I got my stone is in, and that's my favorite part. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to get this black one like right here. So I'm gonna have to separate my wires. And I'm gonna want at least two in the back so that this won't fall out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my weaving wire, and I'm gonna wrap these two wires in the back together. And I also want to make sure that I don't twist them. So I have these two, and I want to make sure that they're next to each other, like, and I have the right two wires. All right. And I kind of like, even this look, it reminds me of like antlers on a deer, and I always think, oh, maybe I can do something cool like with that idea, but these wires are just too long. I don't feel like messing with that right now. And as I said before, I'm using 20 gauge wire, but if you feel like it's not sturdy enough, you can also use a higher gauge, like 18. You can mix gauges, probably. You can do whatever you want. That's the fun of this. Sorry if I go off the camera a little bit sometimes. I'm just not used to this. Oh, by the way, remember, if you are using like raw copper wire, you can definitely save your wire scraps, and that way if you ever get a big collection of them, you can send them back to a place like Rio Grande. You just don't want to throw them out, because that would just be a waste pretty much, especially if you're still learning and you might have a lot of scraps. And sometimes I even go back and look at what scraps I have and see how I can reuse them. So, I mean, even though the wire is kind of cheap. Okay, I went pretty long, maybe even longer than I needed to. So I'm just gonna, I might have to undo some, we'll see, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to secure this Moonstone. Okay, doing tiny stones is really hard for me. Also, trying not to completely lose them. So if you're struggling with the small stones, you might have to do some practice, or maybe even check out somebody else's videos who knows exactly what they're doing. So I am going to crisscross these two wires because that's just going to make this easier on me. I'm going to crisscross these two also. I'm going to pull this one back and pull this one back. Oops. I don't know, the light is getting weird. I'm trying to show you what it looks like pretty good, but there you go. Okay. I'm gonna use these two, and oh my goodness. The sun must have moved. That's my only guess. Flip this around. Okay. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these two wires down for now. Sorry, this one and this one. And I'm gonna take these four and I'm gonna use them to make the bow. I'm gonna straighten them a little bit to where I want them to be. So bales are like kind of tedious, but if you have a nice bale, it can really do a lot for your piece, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect them. And then I'll show you exactly my weave pattern that I'm gonna be using in a second. Just first I just gotta get it. I don't even know exactly what pattern I'm gonna be using yet, so I just need to get it all sorted out. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna show you now. So I've got, you know, my 2 wraps on this wire. I'm gonna wrap around this one, around both of them now. Once around the single, then I'm gonna go behind this 3rd wire, and I'm gonna do 2. And you might need to push them down too. Then I'm gonna wrap around both of these 2. Hold on, I need to unravel some of my wire. Okay. Gonna go once, then go back. Flatten it. Okay, now that I have my initial pattern established, I am going to make it the shape I want it. So, because if I just kept spreading out and out and out, it would look funny. So I'm gonna go ahead and bend these in. I don't know, it just kind of helps me if I get my shape ready ahead of time. Well, I think you kind of have to, or else it won't go well. And then I kind of like bend these at the top outward just to help me, so that I know which wire I'm working with and things like that. So yeah, something like that. I'm gonna just keep going. All this light, that's the tree. There's a tree outside my window, so it's just the leaves are waving and that's why the light's flickering. I'm gonna try to fix that. Okay, I think that's better. And then when I'm all finished with this, I'll give you guys a good look at it so you can see. You can kind of, you don't have to follow the pattern exactly, but you can just do it in a similar pattern and still get the same look. Alright, so I kind of finished the bail, but as you can see, it's like not perfect. So I'm just gonna, this bottom part is gonna be the front. I'm gonna fold it back. That way you only see the good stuff. Okay, I recently got these pliers. I don't know, I usually just use my hand when I make the bail, but try this. So and then if you guys want a closer look on what that looks like. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and chop off my weaving wire. Then I'm going to take these two wires and seal it up. I'm going to tuck these two wires back inside there. As you can see, I have like a lot of extra, but that's a good thing because when you have too little, you really run into bad compromises. I'm gonna kind of give it a twist and then I'm gonna tuck them in. Alright, so there's what we have right now. Now I still have all of my wires back here. Gotta organize them back. So I have a couple longer ones, which will probably end up being more helpful than this like really short one. I'm gonna just, you know, wrap them around however I feel looks cute. So I didn't really like how that looked, so I'm just straightening my wire. I'm going to try something else. Actually, I'm going to try the same thing but opposite. And I still don't like that, so I'm just going to undo it. This is why it's probably a good idea to plan what you're going to make first, but I just end up spending a lot of time going back and forth. Okay, so I looped my ends because I don't want them to be like sticking out, but I also don't want, obviously this can just like come unwrapped if someone tried, so I'm gonna try to tuck them under like these wires or something. That way I just know that it's gonna be sturdy. Oops. Okay, so there it is. I might try to smooth a few things over a bit. But yeah, there is my wire wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I really wanted to give you guys one more look in the light because you can just see things differently. So yeah.